Hello everyone, welcome back. I'm BJ, your host, and we're here for the AFL Round 18 down for the result. Round 9 previews, predictions and tips who I think they'll be the AFL. We are also going to be going into Round 14, the SANFL South Australian National Football League, with the host plus the sponsor for that. For the men's, we also have the women's had the week off as well. We'll be also sharing Round 11 also for predictions for the Women's League and the Men's League Round 15 predictions. Sit back for that. Let's get on with the show. If you are new or you are a regular, welcome back. Welcome all to the newies. So what we'll be doing is, basically I did in the intro, we'll be only showing the Aussie football as we done the Suncorp Super Netball congratulations Adelaide Thunderbirds with the win. So, starting off with the SANFL men's result, round 14. Alright, so what's been happening in the SANFL right now, it's 14 weeks gone. Wow. We got one split round all complete. So, how has the ladder persist? It's changed. You know, teams almost upset teams big time. And it keeps changing up and down all over the place. But this is going to be a really tight battle to the battles. It is that close. We are all going down from North Adelaide, South Adelaide, and the West Adelaide football clubs, all fighting for that fifth spot at this point of season. And actually, North Adelaide are back in the finals race. So, game number 1, we are going to mix it up like I've done last episode. First up, we have down to Provence Park, Central District Bulldogs and the South Adelaide Panthers. Now, I thought after that big win against Port Adelaide, Matt Price, South Adelaide, thought they were going to take this win, but they got defeated. Final score 12-14, 86, defeated 2-8 with the Central District Bulldogs took a 66-point win. Biggest win for the season. I did not see South Adelaide to take this win. It was a big disappointment. I really thought this was going to be, South Adelaide want to improve, they can win it, and unfortunately not the bet to happen. Now, there is 2 games on the Sunday and 3 on the Saturday. So I'm going to meet bay. That was on the Saturday, 4:10 Australian Eastern Standard Time. We go to the 12th of July, which I'm going to share right now. That was my birthday. So, North Adelaide Roosters and Port Adelaide Magpies are down at CrossFit Oval with North Adelaide sponsored Woodville Fitness. It's a fitness centre in the Australian area. And boy, I can say right now, it was a big win for the Roosters. 13-11-89 defeated for 8-32. North Adelaide taking a 5 goals for a third. Whatever, got that calculations. 9 goals, 3. So, let me just get my calculations right. 57-point victory. So, like I said right now, Port Adelaide just got lots of injuries. They've got a lot. North Adelaide staying close to the occasion. We'll share my predictions during this time period. Next game, I'll just go straight into that second. Well, out of the 2 games, this will be the first out of the double Sunday football. The Glenelg Tigers and the LA Crows reserves. Final score here is 8 goals, 13-61, defeated 8 goals, 10-58. How does all happen? The last time these 2 met, Adelaide Crows took the win, but Glenelg took it by 3 points. Now, this was a lot better challenge, and Glenelg will be accepted with that. But there's no excuse for Adelaide to not win this. They've got a great talent list, and take on the best team. I'll take that. Okay, now the next game, we've done our Central District, South Adelaide. We've done North Adelaide Roosters and Port Adelaide Magpies, Glenelg Tigers and the Adelaide Crows. We got the Woodville West Torrens Eagles and the Sturt Devil Blues, and we'll finish up with the West Adelaide and the Norwood Redlegs. Woodville, we're hosting one of the reigning premiers at the moment. Sturt, 9-6-60, defeated Woodville, 5-4-34. This was not just a victory for the Sturt Devil Blues. Woodville were in control of this game and could not control to the end. But Sturt, they were far too good, they were far too skillful, and they took the W. Woodville got a lot of work to do. I consider quarter by quarter, that Woodville looked really, really not there in that second quarter. That's how they won Sturt. Then, out of nowhere, it was basically over in the second, like three-quarter time. Look, 5 goals to 32 points at three-quarter time, and game was over at full time, kicking 2 goals to. So the Eagles did win a quarter, but it was quarter time, half time. So every quarter, except the second quarter, Sturt actually won they kicked goals every quarter. Woodville did 3 quarters and they won a quarter. So take that exception. And so well done to the Sturt Blues with the win, and they're back in action with, I call this almost the biggest upset in history in such a long time. Nathan Bassett's changed his team. They took on a very, very nice win there. So we see the result almost beating the Vein Crenius. And I think it was the week before they really took on a big win. Yeah, big win at home. They almost did it against the Norwood Redlegs. So I'm proud that Norwood took this win out of nowhere. Final score, and this is the final score for the round, by the way. West Adelaide 9, 7 goals, 951, defeated 10-8, 68. How that all happened? West Adelaide kicked poor. They could be winning at quarter time a lot more than this. Second quarter, 3 goals, 1 to 2 goals, 3. West Adelaide up by 9 points. Three-quarter time, it was pretty even. 2-1, 13, 3 goals, 2. Norwood won a quarter. Then, margin was 2 points. Final quarter, West Adelaide could not find it. 1 goal, 1 to 4 goals, 2. Norwood home by 17 points. One and only. I've got to say, West Adelaide shared the ball. They got all multiple scores, and they were 7 goals. Norwood, they had 2 each. 3 players kicked 2 goals, and you got 4 just get singles. So I tell you right now, West Adelaide won that revenge back, and they took it. But they couldn't talk to hold on this win. This was a very important win. But well done to Norwood, sitting at top 2 very nicely. The best percentage in the SANFL after 14 games. But a miracle enough, it's only 2 points between first and second. Third place, with Sturt taking that biggest win, they got the chance to be in third. They know the way. But the lowest percentage in the whole league is Port Adelaide. And I tell you right now, it's going to be a battle. That last few rounds, Norwood and Glenelg are going to be the top 2 teams to look out in season 2026. Who do you think I should go for round 15? It is very, very hard. This is West Adelaide improving. They almost beat a team that really went to the 25 and beat a team 2-1, like Glenelg. Glenelg are the team Norwood are struggling, and they will fight to get that win. But right now, it's round 15. These are hard games to pick. We go to West Adelaide and the Adelaide Crows round 15 prediction tips and overall. We are coming. There's a month of football left, and I can't say there's some tough games to pick. We got a couple. One of them is Saturday night football, 7:10. Very different. Got 3 on the Sunday. One of them is 2:40. So, West Adelaide and the Adelaide Crows, down at Richmond. Who should I win? And who should I go for? Now, I think West Adelaide have a chance to beat a team should play fine. I have belief if West Adelaide can take everything they can get, I think they have a chance to be in the LA Crows reserves. I'd really back in them big time. They've lost. A big loss against Norwood or heartbroken against Sturt. And then I just really have a feeling they can get them. If they can get accuracy, look out. LA Crows is a safe bet. Port Adelaide and Woodville go head to head. And it's the first in a long time to see a Saturday night game. This is at Adamton Oval. At Port Adelaide will train, and the reserves are playing against the league Woodville West Torrens Eagles. Now, I expect Woodville should win this game. Going with them, nothing else I can say. Not fan of them playing Saturday night, but I'm all for the best for that. We have a triple Sunday header. We are going to Macon Stadium in Noongar over originally. South Adelaide Pandas and the Glenelg Tigers, the top of place. Now, 66-point loss against Central District and, well, was the SANFL Round apart. Then before that, we're hosting a game against North Adelaide at Arlington Oval. Took a very nice win. And before that, a big loss against, well, Norwood Redlegs at home on a Sunday afternoon. If I got that correct, I am. And that was one of the biggest losses for the year. Now they take on Sunday afternoon football against Glenelg. Glenelg should win this game, backing them to win. Next game, it's Sturt Darra Blues and the North Adelaide Roosters, a second game, and this is down at Thomas Bums Oval, which is known for Unley Oval. Now, really, North Adelaide had a very good win now against the wrong place, Port Adelaide. Don't know what's happening with that. Sturt, on the other hand, they will take this advantage to take a good win here. Don't know what North Adelaide Roosters, I believe, are fighting for that final, and this is the play. Get a rebuild season, North Adelaide. They're going to really have to be on their feet to win this game. I'm going for Sturt with the win. Next and final game, it's a 2:40. I'll be there supporting my North Redlegs. Unfortunately, not going to the West Adelaide and Norwood game. This game is the 2:40, is the latest afternoon game, half an hour between the double headers between South Adelaide and Glenelg, Sturt, North Adelaide clashes. We have the final game at Norwood Oval, and I mentioned Norwood versus Central District. I hope to see a decent crowd, not a big crowd, but hopefully it's a decent crowd. Now, should win this game. Absolutely should. But last time these two met, Norwood absolutely defeated down at Elizabeth. But something could change. Never know what can happen between these two sides. But Central District on the rebuild. Norwood should take care of Central District. So they're my prediction tips. So we go back to the very first game. West Adelaide, Woodville, Glenelg, Sturt Double Blues, and the Norwood Redlegs. That is all for my SANFL predictions. Round 15. See you next week for that. For my round 15 and my round 11 for the result and thoughts. Round 12 for the SANFLW. That's what I mean about the round 11 and round 16. All right, 3 more rounds to go. Oh, yeah, that'll be my predictions. All right, let's get to the AFL. Oh, that's going to be big. Let's go there now. Right now, hope you're enjoying this. As much I love sharing it. That's right. Sharing this to you. We're done the SANFL. Hope you all enjoy my results and predictions and thoughts. But this is the one and only. Can't wait. Let's get to the first game between the Fremantle Dockers and the Sydney Swans. Start of all, the best game I've seen of two best sides going head to head. Let's go there right now. Thursday night football, and we are here for the Fremantle Dockers Sydney Swans, 2 head to head on a Thursday night. Great crowd in, perfect conditions, and I got to say right now, how can I relate to this game? Back kicking, back scoring. Does anyone know that Fremantle love behinds? Oh my goodness. First time in a long time, no one has ever let a team go goalless in a season. Wow. And at home, in front of their Purple Haze supporters. I call Purple Haze because they're all purple. Now, 15, 21, 111, 10, 13, 73. How did Fremantle win? By 38 points. First quarter, wow. Sydney came out of the blocks. They came and they wanted it. They kicked up to 4 goals and a half and then 6 in the second, where I could see. Fremantle, 11 behind. So 11 points to 33. Could not tell you that was 22 points at halftime. No scoring. Out of nowhere. 6-5 for the quarter. 41 points to 3-5. So I apologize. That is 3-3, 21. Fremantle won the quarter by 20. And they were, I think, winning. 6 goals, 16. I could apologize. 46 to 7-12, 54. So 8 points Sydney way. That's how low this game. And then, out of absolutely nowhere, Fremantle hits. What's up with Sydney? 3 goals, 1. Fremantle, 9 goals, 5. Absolutely won it. And this is how good Fremantle are when you go to Perth. It is not easy. Now, well, congratulations. That's the most important part. Congratulations to Fremantle on the win. But how they reached that goal and how they reached their projections, they had to went to halftime and they got the message through from their head coach, Justin Longmire. Or if I got that correct, thank goodness. So, how did those team stacks work? And we get to those players again, my best ones, and I think even that's the best top the three from the respective teams, and we'll set for Sydney and then Fremantle. So, the disposal stacks didn't Sydney even let Fremantle sit 400 is a pretty good effort there. Hit out 36-31, not the best two hit out teams. And I tell you, I think Chloe Grundy look a bit not himself. The next one is marking. Both teams are not great in marking, so that's a really interesting thing. Tackling. Sydney winning 20 plus in tackles. Inside 50 tackles. Fremantle away. Oh, I was about to say Sydney. That's okay. But 1% is Sydney 53-52 Fremantle. So I didn't see total clearances because I do apologise not saying that. Why not say it right now? Now, it was very extremely even. 39-31, 15-10, 24-21, 8 plus overall, 39-31. That's incredible. That is not very good stats overall. And I don't know how. The overall, when retracting, you put those two together, that is a total, if I've got my calculations, 67 hit-outs overall between sharing those two teams, Sydney and Fremantle. Fremantle, Sydney, doesn't matter. But Sydney will bounce back. I tell you right now, they're going to be really taking on the Crows. Last time the Sydney Swans played the Crows, Adelaide just had a very good night. Let's go there now. We have Fremantle. They will be playing Port Adelaide. And then Sydney against the Crows. At home, in front of the Sydney red and white army. It's going to be a beauty. But now, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you're ready. Our player of the game will be coming in just a moment. The Sydney Swans best. Top 3 is Charlie Krusnow, kicking 5 goals. We're also going to include Jack Lloyd, and then it's so hard to pick. I know he didn't kick a goal, but Chad Winger. But I'm going to congratulate my player of the game. I think he did really well all night. Not enough on the ball. It's Charlie Krusnow. 14 disposals, 6 marks, 3 tackles, 5.1, 101 8 offensively. All goal, all forward, a little bit of defence. He included 9 scoring involvements, 271 metres game. Very impressive act 9, 114-44, basically time on ground all night. That is my, a pretty quiet fella, but he played a lot. I was going to put Brody Grundy in the mix, really did. 29 hit-outs, the most hit-outs in the whole game. But how can I go past Fremantle Dockers with Matthew Johnson on the mix? We have Andrew Bradshaw. Now, I can't go over and over and over, but I also am going to include Josh Tracy, and he's my player of the game. 4.4 in goals, 102 for fantasy, 18 disposals, 5 marks, 2 tackles. Basically the same, a little bit more defence. Including 9 score involvements, 11 act pressured, 415 metres game, 111-20 on the game field. And it also dominated overall. So, well done to Fremantle on the win. Heads up, Sydney. Best of luck. Let's game. All right, for round 19. Round 18 continues for Friday night. By far, the game of the round. Let's go to Friday night football between Collingwood and North Melbourne. All right, Friday night at Marvel Stadium. We've got Collingwood, North Melbourne on Friday night footy. 13-11-89, defeated 12-13-85. I'm going to say right now, Brockton, North Melbourne actually challenged Collingwood. They've been struggling for so many years, and I'm very proud, seriously proud, to be that supporter. Right? Well, I don't go for that team, so I can't say too much in that way. But I've got to say, if North Melbourne don't play finals this year, I think they'll be in that wild card possibility. I have a bit of confidence. They didn't lose by 6-7 goals or even 8 goals. They lost by 4. They'll learn some losses. Now, they should have won this game to really upset Collingwood. Collingwood found a way. Now, Collingwood would have totally been challenged. Thought this was going to be a winnable game. Was a winnable game. They were clearly not only the clear favourites, but with a definitely possibility 50-50 game. So 7 goals to 6, very much it was just under that 10-point bracket. Then it was a game, 2 goals 3. Now that's a couple more goals. North Melbourne should won this game. And again, the last quarter was basically a 1 point. So overall, it was to really give North Melbourne so much credit. Collingwood would actually challenge at time to time, but I think I'm going to give more credit to the North Melbourne Football Club. They came and they showed what they can do. Before we get into which two teams and who they're playing and then players of the game. So the disposal stacks are very, very even. You know, you go into the total clearances. North Melbourne run the hit outs. The clearances total, not centre, but stoppages. So they really brought that pressure. They brought that, that's a pretty good effort there. Turner's favourite to Collingwood, which marking, North Melbourne show what they can do for marking. 110-99, that's 11 overall. It's a damn good effort, and I'm happy with that bit. Next part of my stat is tackling. North Melbourne are a struggling team. Collingwood are a very strong team in tackling, and as well inside 50s. So you look overall what North Melbourne are trying to provide, it's pressure football, but their movement is amazing. So I'm happy that, yes, North Melbourne lost, but they'll learn that loss, and I think they'll take on, now they're back at Marble, they take on Melbourne Demons, they're going to give it a hot crack. Now, they are a Saturday afternoon football between and after the Port Adelaide Fremantle game. So it's going to be hopefully it'll be a really good game. I think this is North Melbourne crack that Friday night footy, and they earn their spot on a Friday night. They don't really get it. The only time they get Friday is Good Friday against Carlton, which they absolutely dominated. So there is some improvements that North Melbourne are trying to get their stars to show up, and like Nick Lucky, be unlucky, believe me, no excuse from directly in front, hitting the post, it's just frustrations for key forward. He wants to get better, move up the ground, and I really think that can get better. With Collingwood point of view, they take on their rivals of Carlton. Collingwood absolutely will bounce back against the Hawks. This will be a really good game. It is the Black and White Army versus the Blue and White Army going to be hopefully a great scheduled Saturday night alone game, which I personally think is not great at the time, but that's what it is. It is what it is. So, out, I'm going to fly into my play again. It has some hard choices, and I start with Collingwood. Why? I think I really want to give more to North Melbourne. So, Collingwood. Well, you can't go past this player, and I'll share him very much, clearly my best. But Darcy Cameron, domination. Now, it was a very hard between a couple of players. Domination all night and took the W. Can't just pick one or two, but it is a hard choice. It's not about the fancies and all of that. So I'm going to give my second best to Braden Minen. And the third best for Collingwood is Josh Jacobs, and he is my player of the game. That's the reason why. He had 33 disposals, 10 marks, 6 tackles. Now there's no goals to see what score involvement seems like. He got that 144 for fans, more defensive than the forward end. 6 scores, assists of involvement was 2 goal assists. 631 metres game, 113.23 time on ground, 18 pressure at. Now that was 3 clearances and now 3 stoppages. So a little bit awkward with that part, but he is my player of the game. Go to North Melbourne now. Why I started to go the opposite, because I don't think a lot really shown. That was a cracking game of football. We've seen 2 players have Desi being my clear best is J.K. Sinkley, Harry Sicily, and I'm going to give it to, it's a pretty hard choice to hit. And then Nick Lucky. Now, there's some hard choices, and I think Nick Lucky is just being unfortunate to really kick those accuracy goals. But my player of the game, look, it's pretty obvious the Harris Sicily. Now, 125 offensively, but it's not that. 28 disposals for 9 tackles, 5 marks. He had 45% in the defensive half and the forward half, 55%. He included 7 scoring involvements with 1 goal assist, with 1 behind. That is all right. He had 366 metres game. We had a 30 pressing act, which is just incredible. It was 103-27 time on ground, 15 centre bounce attenders, 4 clearances, and now 4 times with stoppages. So Harris Sicily is just going to a new level and is playing for a decent club like North Melbourne. Hopefully they'll come back stronger than ever in season 2022. So my 9 is now done for the Friday night games. We come to the Super Saturday football. We've got full games to share. So first up is St Kilda and Port Adelaide at Marvel Stadium. What a game that was. We'll be showing that the celebration, the legend might be finishing at Port Adelaide's last game in the Port Adelaide colours. We'll then go to the ENGIE Stadium, the upset of the round. And boy, what a story that will be. We'll then head to the first out of double Saturday night at MCG between the Collingwood and Hawthorn. What a disappointing performance from Collingwood. We'll share that. The Crows actually had a nice night at the Adelaide Oval with the Adelaide Crows hosting Gold Coast, and followed by the triple Sunday football. Everyone was playing round 18. I can't wait to share that. Let's drive in to the first game between Port Saints and the Power at Marble Stadium. But we've done the intro. You know what's happening? We are here for the St Kilda hosting Port Adelaide. Some struggling and injuries continue at Port Adelaide. It's been like that in the last couple of seasons. And Josh Carr has definitely improved. And I have totally shown that in so many ways. They've done against the Adelaide Crows, one of the informed teams, and their rivals. So how important for Port Adelaide to win this? Now, this will be a lesson learned for the Port Adelaide. Zach Butters, a star to be stays to be out of the season, and also with the Dunford Port Adelaide colours. He's been a great contributor for the football club, great leadership, and I'm sure the Port Adelaide supporters totally respect. He knew he was going to move on and all the above. But none of that. Look, 13,987 to 10,1373. How did this game fall to play? Well, I gotta say, not the great start for St Kilda came out of the blocks and 9 goals to 3 for 36 points. Thought that was all going to be over, but something changed. 2 goals straight to 6 goals for Port Adelaide, 1 a quarter. And how truly importantly to win a quarter. And that's exactly what they did. They almost won the second half, and a possibility they did that. And they won that quarter. They were in the game. They were going to have a chance to win this. St Kilda found that energy, kicking the last 2 goals, 2 to 2-1 goal 3. So a very similar margin. But they kicked St Kilda 2 goals instead of 4 goals, 2. So that's a really bit of, I could say, that's a bonus in a way. So no, Port Adelaide are going to be struggling, and I'll share who are that. Before I do that, St Kilda, bravo. That means well done. Now, well done to St Kilda. I backed them up to win this game, and boy, they did it perfectly with a victory. And know they're going to get the job done by 14 points against a side improved Port Adelaide lineup. They're missing players. They're going to be missing stars, and I can't talk back part. But St Kilda started well, and they struggled in that third quarter. They're going to come Port, and that's how improved they have. But the last quarter stayed there with a victory. Now, how did the team stacks come? We're going to do that right now. No, look, Saints smashed them in the disposal stack. Hit out. Boy, St Kilda are the worst hit outs. I don't know how they're getting hitting it, but the clearances. Port Adelaide done very well on that point. And that's how they win the game in the second half, especially the third. Marking St Kilda pretty good, controlled that part, but the tackling St Kilda bit slightly better. So I'm not that worried with Port Adelaide's future. I think they're going to do pretty well. Obviously, they host Fremantle on a Saturday afternoon. It's going to be a test, and I believe they can give it all. The other team, the most important, the St Kilda Saints, the winners for this match. and I will share who they take on, and they actually do take on Geelong. Now, that's going to be the biggest one. Should I tip St Kilda as the biggest upset? There's no Jeremy Cameron, so obviously they're missing a game, but down at Geelong, it's got to be safe, and I am share that very soon. It's time to share the St Kilda Port Adelaide player of the games. The same with St Kilda, and I'm got my Bradley Hugh up there, Connor Weekly as my second and national regular number Miller. Now, who should I go for? Who should I tend to be my player to game for St Kilda? And he didn't get a tackle in goal, but 16 marks is huge. Weekly. So Cole Lem Weekly from the Saints include their 148 offensively, but it was the 34 disposals from the 16 mark. 88-12. Now that's defence to the forward. That's what I'm going to say. Now 3 score involvements, but 15 uncontested possession marks from 1 contested possession mark. That's obviously of my stacks right there. 425 on meters gained, 5 pressure acts, 127.48 in time on ground. Now, I didn't go in the midfield because he was a defender, but I tell you right now, pretty good, and no one stopped him in Port Adelaide's forward. So, our next player was Port Adelaide's player of the game. I'm going to share that right now. And there's some tough decisions, who's going to be out and all the above. So, after the injury, I could have Zach Brothers in the mix, but Jason Hall-Francis is definitely one of them. Miles Bergman, he is in the mix, and I'm going to give it to, there's some tough choices, and I've only done 2 of them, but because there's not a lot of players, pretty hard to pick. They didn't really get the fancy in the points land, but there was a few outs, and there's an issue with injuries. So, the last one I'm going to give it to is Jace Burgley. And my player of the game, look, he's been so good so far. It's Jason Horn-Francis from Port Adelaide. 23 disposals, 5 marks, 2 tackles, 2 goals, 1 behind, 93 AFL fantasy, 43% in defensive half from forward half, 57%. The next part I'm going to give you is scoring involvements and a goal assist. 353 meters gained, 9 pressure acts, and as well 107 minutes 35, 15 were centre bounce attenders, 8 clearances. 4 of them was centre, stoppages was 4. That's why how they won it. And the most important big time was 3 inside 50s, rebounds 50. So well done to, and like I said, if I did not say it, 93 AFL fantasy. So well done to the Saints. Heads up. Port Adelaide, second afternoon football, we're going to ENGA Stadium, which in the Great Western Sydney Giants, known for GWS, Giants hosting Geelong Cats. How did that happen? Let's go to our second Super Saturday afternoon football right now. We can't just enjoy our Saturday twilight football, and we are in the west of Sydney. A decent crowd we had, and we have the Giants and the Cats coming up. And that is where we are. Carl, what can I say about upstairs injuries? And we've had a lot of injuries. 12-14-86, 11-7-73 was a perfect afternoon, evening, no rain in sight. The Giants army ran into town and thought the game was over at the halftime. We all say, never ever assume that the game is over at halftime. Geelong thought they're going to take care of in front of the Great Sydney Army. The Orange Army found a way to come home with the W. They find, how did they do it? I have no idea. But it was the last quarter. Thought the game was 27 points at 3/4 time, and the game was over at 3/4 time. I just thought Geelong just took care, but Jeremy Cameron, there was 3 on the bench. Actually, 3 on the bench. And there was injuries after injuries after injuries. How can I relate to these players? We'll share that right now. So, Jeremy Cameron, a star of the making, not 1 goal, but he had 11 marks, 3 tackles in the game. And the season is now done for him. We have Tanner Barnhart, another player was injured, and Jack Hurd. lead, and he had no way of the game. So you take risks and you bring your great players into the game, you're going to do all right. But the great Western Sydney, the Giants came to town in front of their army crowd, and not one injury was set. Got hard. No, Phoenix got hard. A star that he dominated, but unfortunately went down with the injury. But none of the offenses that Geelong came out on the blocks early, kicking 5 goals to 2, and then 7 goals to 1. So overall, it was 2 goals to 1. I need to make that clear. Geelong by 25 points. Geelong by almost 30 points. Then it out come of nowhere. Giants kicked 9 goals to 1 in the final quarter to hold on a 13-point victory. The last half, the second half, 9 goals, 8 2 4 0 straight Geelong. So if you can bring pressure, you can bring something overall, and that is get that win. I had no idea what happened out there for Geelong. I backed them to win this game 100%. But Giants has found a way. And this is what happens. They're back. They're back in action. They are in the mix. They've got a good percentage, very good percent, just above of Carlton, North Melbourne and Gold Coast. But Port Adelaide do also have good percent. So week in, week out, look, Geelong got St Kilda on Thursday night. Don't know how they're going to get that together, but St Kilda in very good form, very quite scary. And then we also have the Giants. We'll go to Melbourne at Marvel Stadium to take on the Dons, Nova, Essendon Vomit. So a player that our team put together, need to find a way. I think the Giants are in pretty good form at the moment. Now, the team stacks. The Giants have more disposal. Their hit outs. And it's most important, marking. They're not great in marking, both these two, but it was and the tackling. This is the best thing. It's a 50-50 hot shot. That's why, the Giants came hard and came hard beautiful. Now, a pretty hard choice to pick. Geelong's best. Mark Holmes is in the mix. Sean Mangard is my second best, but I'm going to give it to also Lanson Humphreys. Now, who should be my mix? You hit 33 disposals and 4 goals is pretty impressive. And almost the number 1 tackling team, like the individual. But Mark Holmes did pretty well, but Sean Mangard is my player of the game, 138 for intensity, 4 goals, 1 behind, 4 tackles, 1 mark, 33 disposals, 38% in the defensive half, 62% in the forward half, 6 scoring involvement, 582 metres game, 18% act of pressure, 7 clearances, 3 centre bounce attenders, 6 of them were stoppages, 1 time was centre bounce attenders. So overall, we're 50 inside 50. So well done to Sean Mangard from Geelong's key forward. He's got a bit of work to do against Saints, but we'll share that very soon in my thoughts next round. So the Giants, the Army, Kyle Oliver is in the mix. Toby Green is in the mix. Who should be Kieran Briggs. Should I put him in the mix? And you are my player of the game. 51 hit-outs. 134 84 offensivity with 1 goal, 4 tackles, 4 marks, 19 disposals. Defensive half was 40%, 60% forward half, 5 score involvements, 14 pressured at, 2 fires, 8 metres game, 22 centre bounce attendance, 5 clearances, 4 of them were stoppages with 1 centre, and the most interesting part, 98 was ruck contests. So, entry inside 50, from 50 rebounds. So, a player that he can play is pretty impressive. The well done to Kieran Briggs from the Giants, catch Sean Mangard, well done to the comeback 9 goals to 1 in the final quarter from the Giants, and the biggest win so far for the season in front of their fans against the Premiers and against the runners-up on their home deck. All right, that's done for this game. Now we come into some evening football. First up, we're at the MCG, the Carlton Hawthorn. Way to go there for that raining, miserable weather with the Blues and the Hawks coming up right now. Saturday night doubleheader, we're at the MCG between the Blues and the Hawks. Carlton or Hawthorn, if you are listening and understand why I am trying to explain. The two Melbourne teams in the rival oldest clubs back in the Victorian Football League days. So, MCG, Saturday night, not great crowd with wet conditions and all moist, with this very heavy football. So, oh my goodness, it's amazing. So, 6 goals, 339, 15 goals, 13,103. Hawthorn, 64-point victories. They are looking one step better over the Blues. Blues look great effort over with Fraser. And it's a really good effort. But they've gone back again to that moment since Michael Voss left Carlton as head coach. Josh Fraser's biggest loss. And now they'll look what they need to do and they'll work on that. So, how important this game started. 2 goals apiece. Then it was all basically 3 goals, 1 to 1 point. 2 goals to 5. 2 goals, 5 more behinds. So that's how difficult Carlton struggled. They could not match Hawthorn's key forwards in their defence. And Carlton been struggling a lot of that. And I completely understand that Carlton have struggled this year. But you can't let the leadership, the whole team needs to step up. Now, I thought, could they have possibility to play finals? It was quite scary at moments. They are in the mix. Now, teams that play next week, Carlton will start with you. They're all rivals, Collingwood. And that will be a interesting game. The next team we just spoke about, which I can get onto the AFL app about it for round 18, which is Hawthorn. And I should have that in the back of my head, but it's not in my mind. Which is Richmond on Sunday afternoon football. So, Richmond will have to do everything absolutely their best to stay in. They almost beat Carlton. So, after that, just over the line victory for the Blues, look, Richmond are on the advantage of improved. But getting back to this game, like I said, I done my summary how it all went, but the stat. Well, you look at it, that's not too bad. Speed, smash and disposal, not hundreds and hundreds of disposals the difference, but the one that's the big one is hit-outs. Carlton are not the best hit-out team as well. There's a few other teams, but Hawthorn dominating that bit. We have marking 57 marks between two teams. That's a very good effort to keep Hawthorn in line with that. Tackling, pretty well effort from Carlton. They are decent side in tackling and they want to work on that. So how much important Carlton is improved? Oh, they have shown what they can capable do and they'll learn from losses. I've always been told from many coaches, learn from a loss and a win, and it was a big loss, 64 points. Go back, do your best, take on be in the contest, and hopefully it'll be a good game. My players for this game, who I think should be that player of the game, was Carlton, Sam Walsh, Adam, Carl, and look, there was no marks, it's pretty hard to pick, but we've had cribs as well. So, out of all these stats, Adam, Carl, you're my player of the game. 14 tackles, 1 mark, 1 goal, 135 offensively, 27 disposals, 55% defensive half, 45 in the forward half. He also included those marks. Well, a pretty busy night with 2 scoring involvements, not a 34 pressured act was 424 on the meters ground. Time on ground 98.54. We had a 10% of bounce attendance with 3 clearances. So clear player of the game for the Carlton Blues. With the Hawks, there's pretty hard to pick. But Cam McDonald, you're on my list. We got Jack McGivern, here my second best, and Will Day. Now, there's some hard choices. Should I go for a bit more experience or just give to Will Day and exactly who I'm going to give it to? 120 for fantasy, 1 goal, 24 disposal, 3 marks, and 7 tackles, 37% defensive half, 63 forward half. He also included 3 goal assists, 5 scoring involvements. He had 468 meters game with a 23 pressured at 90-89. I find time on ground, sends up bounds attendance from 3 clearances, 2 for centre, 1 from stoppages, and 4 inside 50s and rebound times 3 times. Well done to Will Day and the Hawthorn Hawks with the win. Well done to Alan Carl from the Blues. All the best next week. It's now time to get to our second doubleheader. We're going to the Adelaide Oval between the Adelaide Crows are hosting the Gold Coast Suns. Let's go there right now. And surely we do. Saturday night football, Adelaide Oval with the Adelaide Coast hosting the Gold Coast Suns. 19 goals, 14, 128 defeated, and 7 goals, 749. How can I relate to this game? Roy, lad, speed recovery, mate. You're a star. And I know you'll be back in the Crows colours real soon. But this is the only disappointing chord the game was. Gold Coast did not bend. They only kicked 2 goals, 1 goal, 1 goal, 3 goals. Adelaide, 3 goals, and add another 4 goals, then add another 6, and then a remaining of another 6. Kicking themselves 7, 12 goals. 6, 2, 4 goals, 2. They won that second half, a better second half, but the Crows just added a lot more and they win by incredible 79 points, which is one of the biggest winning margins under Damien Hardwick, under coaching the Gold Coast Sun. Gold Coast look really flat. They are looking, don't know. And I really don't know where they are. They don't really have an overly injury list. They do have the strength. They do have the team. They just have to commit and trust each other. Now, nothing enough with the Gold Coast Suns. We're out here for the Adelaide Crows now. Big win, big win. Oh my God. Challenges are coming your way. 2 big games. And the first is the Sydney Swans. The Gold Coast Suns are on the way to take on the Western Bulldogs, and then we'll be back home on a Sunday afternoon for round 19. So, look, Adelaide knew the first quarter was a bit scrappy, and we know how contest the Gold Coast can be, but I just can't really feel Gold Coast will play finals, and they won't. They've never made the finals till last year, and I thought they're going to be one step better. I thought they're going to be top 4. Now, they've gone back to where they are under Damien Hardwick. They cannot find the right head coach to direct this team to sensational success. They do have a football club they've got to run, and they've got the support base more than ever. Last season, 2025 was one of the best. They trust each other. Now, I just don't know where they are. So, nothing's enough from that part. The team stats. Now, I knew Adelaide were going to win. I didn't expect that much, but yeah. 10 stacks, game through. Disposal racks. I gotta say, once again, Gold Coast let Adelaide not 400 disposal. Tick off. Now, that's part I like to share is hit out. Adelaide not hitting those hit outs. Gold Coast won them. Ticked off. Clearances 53 to 35. 18 plus overall. Centre as centre. Part of the clearances. 5 plus 14 to 9. And then stoppages, clearances, 13 plus, 39 to 26. Adelaide is the number 1 in the AFL this season to be in that stat, or one of the stats number 1. So, hitouts are pretty good, and marking it was very wet, so you can give that to pretty good, well even, and tackling, they are the number 1 tackling. I can see no one has scored past, almost scored 100 tackles. Adelaide are hungry for tackles, and Adelaide got, if I can say, they got about 8-1 holding the balls in the game. One stage in the game, I was watching the highlights and it was 7-0, and that is insane. But nothing's enough on my part. It's a pretty hard choice for the LA Crows. We share them hard as a game, and we're going to do my top 3. I'm mixing it up week in, week out. Look, Mount Round did all right. We don't understand. Desi dominated, and I'm going to also give it to, well, it's always hard, but the person who did very well in the hitouts is Ned Morley. Now, how much he did well, the most hitouts out of where the hitouts requested. It's a pretty hard effort, but I am going to give it to him. So you're my Gold Coast player of the game. Include that 58 hitouts, 93 able fantasy, 1 mark, 1 tackle, 13 disposals, 47% defensive half, 53 forward half. That includes 5 score involvements, 244 metres game was a 5 presser at 107.21 time on ground. This is the interesting part. 105 ruck contests to 58 hit-outs. And then he includes 7 clearances. 2 of them are centre, 5 of them are stoppages. 23 centre bounce attendance. Well on to Ned Mole Lee. The Adelaide Crows very hard and not joking about this bit. I set ranking Jordan Dawson and Sam Berry. Now, it is one of the others. You can't go past Sam Berry. He may not hit a goal. He was so dangerous. He's clearly the best of the best. 28 disposals, 2 monks, 12 tackles, including 126 AFL fantasy. Had opportunity to kick goals, include 56 defensive half, 44 the forward half. We had 1 goal assist. It includes 5 goals involvements, 21 presses at with 88.29 time on ground, 499 metres gained, 10 clearances. There were 4 stoppages. So I apologise of my 6 of them were stoppages. Centre were 4. So very busy on the man. Absolutely. And 7 times inside 50s. So a person that really brings the pressure. He's in the mix. Now, do you think Sam Berry is in the mix for the BJ Show Awards? Oh, but I'm not going to say too much of that. But well done to the LA Crows with the win and Sam Berry, and well done to the Ned Morley from the Gold Coast Suns. It's now time, and oh boy, it's time to share the last 3 games, and we start off with the first out of 3 as we now go back to Marvel Stadium. The last time we were there on Saturday afternoon football, and we were there as well Friday night. This is the 3rd time we'll meet, and then the 2nd time, if I got my calculations, at the MCG. Let's now fly the Super Sunday ticket for round 18. Reviews and thoughts. Do that right now. Well, obviously, we got 3 more games here, and it actually was my birthday, so we had some pretty reasonable good games. First up, we're at Marvel Stadium, as I mentioned, but we have the Western Bulldogs and the West Coast Eagles as my first out of 3 games as well. Final score here on the AFL app, 13-8-86, defeated 9 goals, 16-17. How does this work? Nice and short and sharp. So, look, West Coast get poor, but they found a way. Look, they were winning half time. They were winning 1 goal, 1, 7 points. Dogs found a way, 4 goals, 2 goals, 3. And then it was 4 goals straight to 1 goal, 5. That's how poorly West Coast, boy, they can find a way. So you'll be surprised how it will happen. Teams of the Western Bulldogs they will face West Coast will take on Brisbane at home. Massive test. Oh, it's a massive test for them. And we're on our Dogs. They'll go and travel to the Gold Coast and take on Gold Coast. So how important that the Gold Coast Suns need to win this game against the Dogs. We'll find out very soon. Also, I did not share. The LA Coast will take on Sydney Swans. That's the preview of the last game. And the Gold Coast, obviously, against the Dogs. So, we all know how important game's important, but bad kicking. I think West Coast, give them more credit than they realise. If they get a bit more accuracy, look how. They look very, very good. They have shown it. Western Bulldogs on the other hand, they should win it. They should just talk this win. And they should win a lot more than that. But winners are weird. So we share the disposal stacks and rate this nice and sharp. Very even there. We have the hit-outs 9+. We have the clearances very even. We have what else was pretty even. Marking was just far too much favour to the Eagles. It's interesting the fact that it's interesting. Tackling as well. Favour West Coast. West Coast found a way and they find pressure and when it's really matters. The last time West Coast play at Marble was against Carlton and they got the sleep done. So whenever come decide to show up, they will show up against Collingwood. We'll share that later down the track. So done my board. This is a very quick review on that so we get to our next game. It's some really hard, tough choices and really highly rated easily. We have William Dersma is as my second best And look, it's pretty hard to pick a player that should be up in the mix, and it's that number 51 from the West Coast Eagles, Mungus Herbert. But out of the hard work, William Dersma, you're my player of the game. Harley Reid, you're close. If you kick straight, you're definitely my player of the game. 91 AFL fantasy, but you had 20 disposals, 3 marks, 7 tackles, 1 goal. Game week in, week out better. As here, 60% in defensive, 40% in the forward half. Then, 3 scoring involvement was 1 goal assist. 328 metres game, 23% of pressure acts was a 98.49 on time on ground. 2 clearances, now stoppages. We include 1 rock contest. 1 time there was 16 centre bounce attenders. Well done to William Desma. Prove in, week out. We come to the Mighty Dogs. And fortunately, if Bailey continue, he'll be my player of the game. Mongus Bont, you're my Rod Loeb. You're my second best, and Riley West. Now, the Bont's back in town. Kick 2 goals. And as well, we had Rob Lowe dominate 29 disposals with 5 tackles, 5 marks, 17 disposals, including that 1 goal. It's a tough decision, but I'm going to give it to him. Rob Lloyd, well done. You're my player of the game, player into that rock. Well, I said 17 disposals from 5 marks, 5 tackles, 1 goal, 113 A4 fantasy. We're 59% in defensive half, 41% in the forward half. He also included 3 scoring involvements with 1 goal assist. Now we come to 98.08 time on ground, 228 metres game was a 9. I said a bit low in that. He also includes 75 rock contests of the 29 hitouts. He also included 18 centre bounce attenders with 2 clearances, 1 of each stoppages and centre clearances. So it proves to me that the Dogs are going to have to really want to get some really big wins here. They are in the hunt for the finals. They are not out. They are in that top 10, but in the wild card part, with 7th place. So Collingwood, Geelong and St Kilda. Geelong, really, if Geelong seriously lose next week, I'm going to share that later on. It's basically the Giants have opened up the gate. One of them will go out, one of them will go in. Now I've done my bit. It's the player of the game time. It is one of the hardest choices when you do these kind of shows. It's the player of the game. And I'm going to done all that. Oh my goodness. I'm past all that. Well done to the Western Bulldogs. Well done to West Coast. Let's go to the MCG. And we got the Melbourne Demons and the Tigers, the Richmond Tigers. Let's find out what happened there. Let's go there now to the MCG. We head to the MCG for the second Sunday afternoon football. The 2 rivals of the Melbourne Demons and the Richmond Tigers also do these met with Anzac on an evening night football. This is daytime. Now, this is the Melbourne home game, and they took a very, very nice win, 46 points. Now, 16-15, 111 to 9-11 and 65. The quarter by quarter, Richmond came out, they fought hard. In that last quarter, they basically almost won a quarter. It was all Melbourne from the very much 5 goals, and amount of 4 goals, and amount of 3 goals, and amount of 4 goals. Just 1 step better, and they kicked 6 goals. 6. The 4 goals, 6. So you can put it together. That 6 minus was each side, but overall it was 7 goals to 4. So basically it was 18 points apart in the second half. That was close. That's an effort. So I'm just going to write now disposal stacks, headouts. Well, Richmond gives that credit. Clearances, they're very good at total clearances. They never gave up, especially around the stoppages. That's a plus. Marking got smashed, 48 minus there. They're not the greatest in marking. The tackling, the 20 minutes. So it really puts my attention with Richmond that are they improving? Are they going downhill? But the results are not getting smashed week in, week out. But there's not a lot of effort around the ball. Number 1 for the Richmond Tigers. He's one of them. His name is Nick Valadouche. That's one of my best players for the match. There's no one past 100 AFL fantasy. There's something wrong. Tim Turoto, he's my second player. Now, there's no one to really enjoy this night, and I can't give it to someone else who cannot even do a simple task, and that I'm going to give it to Ben Miller. But the player of the game, he's just worked so hard all over the field, and he got 74 AFL fantasy, 4 marks, 5 tackles, 16 disposals, which is Nick Valalaston for the Richmond Tigers. Was partly on what I just said, including those stats. Here include 2 school involvements, 103-34 time on ground, 417 metres game, pressure acts of 13, and 2 clearances, one of it from centre and stoppages. So well done to Nick Bailey and to the Melbourne Demons player. Tough. We all know that Melbourne are finding ways, but here we had Jack Steele was in the mix. When Ed Long, he's the second best, and Jake Barry. But you can't go past Jack Steele. 113 AFL fantasy. He had 27 disposals, 4 marks, 10 tackles. Well, that one behind that's okay, but 56 defensive half, 44 forward half. He included 7 scoring involvements, 234 metres gained, 26 present at 94, 26 on the ground. Centre bounce attenders 22, 8 clearances. So there were 2 from centre and 6 from the stoppages. So that's incredible. We had 2 inside 50s in their 50s and 3 from inside 50s. So and 2 rebounds. So you look over all that. Jack Steele was finding his way at the Melbourne Demon, and that's my thoughts for this game. We go to the last game. I'm making it really short. I can't say too much about this last game. Let's go now to the gutter for the final game. We've got Brisbane and Essendon. Let's go there now. Not much to say about these two sides. The Reigning Queens back in action. They are back in 17-149, defeated 8-11-59. The Bombers are just working hard out on the local side. They are in massive trouble. I can't say too much about respectful for Essendon. They just don't have the support around them, unfortunately. 5 goals to 0, 4 goals to 1, out of 6 goals, 7. And that's all exciting was when they came hard to a 90-point victory. But back in action, and they want to work for that top 4 spot. I can't say too much about that part. I've got friends, I've got family members all going for this club, and I tell you, stick by them because they've got a long to review there. How can Essendon be alive and it's not improving? Players want to move on, players come into this club, but they're going to give it all. Disposals, hit outs, they give it all. Clearances, they got smashed there all over from centre, and stoppages, pretty even in that part, so I accept that. Marking, they got smashed. Yeah, it's very sad. So sad. And look, I give them more credit. They've got inside 50s were a bit 12 minus. The overall tackles, they led the main 20s Brisbane Lions not have 40 tackles. Adelaide are the number 1 tackling team in the AFL. And then Essendon got 53 tackles from 59 scoring points from 8 goals, 11. So that's incredibly impressive. They can get more tackles than goals. But anyway, play the game. And I'm going to start with Essendon because get them over and done with. But they've had some really struggling season games. And number 9 for the Bombers, which is Sylvania Rob Lee, if I got that correct. Look, Darcy Parish is in the mix. And Dyson Sharp. But the player of the game, he's been dominating this part. I'm going to give it to Sylvania Rob, including 20 disposals, 5 marks, 5 tackles, 69 AFL fantasy. We had 35 defensive half, 65 forward half. He also included 4 score involvements, 257 metres game, 18 present at 101, 11 on the time on ground, 16 were the centre bounce attenders. We had 2 of world centre, 3 of them were stoppages. 5 overall. Very good effort. Right there. So that means he had, and I do apologise if he kicked the goal or not. No, he did not kick the goal. So well done to the Essendon Bombers and Safani. Rob, all the best against the last game for the round, which will be round 19 clash against the Giants. Now the Lions, I could give them a 4th bonus play, but can't just do that. It's not fair. We had Lockie Neal, Far Best, Will Ashcroft, a mother domination, and I can't just give it to someone else. Cam Ryder. Now, my player of the game, it's Will Ashcroft. 7 marks, 3 tackles, 3 goals, 2. 33 responses, 142 aid offensively. He had 52% in the defensive to 48 in the fourth half. He includes 13 score involvement, 1 goal assist. He has 613 metres game and a 15 impressive act. He had 101 with 39. I'm on ground. There's 18 centre bounce attempts, 8 clearances. 6 of them are centre. 2 of them are stoppages. So you look at 6 inside 51 time of that is rebound. So well done to the Brisbane Lions, and all the other winners were their Fremantle, Collingwood, St Kilda, GWS Giants, Hawthorn, Adelaide Crows, Western Bulldogs, Melbourne Demons, and the Brisbane Lions. Time to share straight through, no stop, my round 19 predictions, and I can't wait to share them who I think should win. Let's go there now. Alright, round 19 previews and my predictions and tips. Here we go. We're going from game number 1 from Thursday night to Sunday twilight. Here we go. We got Geelong and St Kilda. There's some big injuries from maybe more from Geelong. Sexy Geelong. I'm going for Geelong in a tight game, and it should be a bit more closer. That's to be safe. Next game, we have the Sydney Swans hosting the Adelaide Crows. A really hot contest this is going to be. I'm going for my blood of the Adelaide Crows. Sydney are favourites, but I think the Adelaide Crows, just to be, because I go for the Crows, why not? Never go against your club, but we go to the Saturday schedule, and the first out of 1, 2, 3, 4, we got 4 games, like round 18. The Port Adelaide Power hosting the Fremantle Dockers, and I am 100% keen to go to the Fremantle Dockers. Take a very nice win there. We got the next game, and that was at the Yellow Oval. We go back to Melbourne at Marvel Stadium. North Melbourne versus the Melbourne Demons. Tough game to pick. North Melbourne almost took an upset against the Collingwood Magpies, and Melbourne just took a clean victory, 46 points over the mighty Richmond Tigers. Melbourne should win this game, and I'm backing them to win this. The first double Saturday night football, and we got Collingwood and Carlton MCG across from Marvel. Look, Carlton improved so much, but I really need to be safe with Collingwood, I think. After that 4-point victory and Carlton coming off a very heavy 64 points over Hawthorn at the MCG, I think I'm going to say Collingwood, but I'm just not comfortable with that. That's a hard choice because Carlton has improved. The next one is in Perth. It's West Coast Eagles. Can they just take on the Rain 20th Richmond Lions? I think they can. I really think they can. And I'm really backing them up, but Brisbane all the way. We have a 3-game Triple Sin Sunday ticket, and we got back to the MCG from Saturday night football. Richmond and Hawthorn. That's it. We go for an interstate and return back to Marvel Stadium once again, and the final time for this round. Gold Coast Suns and the Western Bulldogs, 50-50. Gold Coast have sort of to be favourites, but I'm going to put for the Western Bulldogs to win this because Gold Coast look absolute loss in so many levels. And then we got the final game, Essendon and GWS Giants. Look, Essendon are on the route to a rebuilding, getting the number 1 draft pick. You can't go past them. And they're not unclear on favourites because they're not the only team is not really got $10+ on their bets. It is the Giants. The GWS Giants should take this win. Back-to-back wins. They did well against the mighty Geelong Cats in front of their supporters. They'll be coming over to Melbourne and backing them. So my predictions and my tips are going to be the mighty Cats, the Crows, Dockers, Demons, Magpies, Lions, Hawk Dogs, and the Giants. They're the second names. I'm just going for that. So I'm going to now say the first name. Geelong, Adelaide, Fremantle, Melbourne, Collingwood, Brisbane, Hawthorn, Western Bulldogs, and GWS Giants. All right. Thank you so much. That's my prediction for round 19. It's time to wrap it up. Trying to wrap it up, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you do like this episode, make sure you give this a like. I love seeing lots of likes if you like this kind of concept, and make sure you hit that notification. You do not want to miss another episode. We'll also make sure you subscribe, and wherever you follow the podcast, this will be on the podcast wherever you get your podcasts, such as Apple, Spotify, and wherever you can find the BJ Show. Well, that's all, folks, and we'll see you on the next one. That's all. BJ Show's out. Peace.